Hey everyone, we're just opening up the hives, and I thought I'd bring you all along. This is going to be a week 10 update on the hives. I have some family here as well that are watching, so putting on just a little show. And if you heard that crack is the sound of propolis. And propolis is what they use to seal up the hive. Just give them a quick puff of smoke, send them all down, and the bees are going to be very docile for us today. In fact, I could probably keep them without gloves, which I'll do now, just to prove my point. As you can see, beautiful brood chambers. They have capped brood. And they have lots of capped eggs, which is good. I actually have a bee climbing on me. See, the bees don't want to hurt you. The last thing they want to do is sting you. They'll climb right over you, and no worries. But I'm going to put my gloves back on because I am new to this. I just wanted to prove a point that they don't want to sting you. But I do feel better since it is the fall. Since it is the fall honey run that I do work with gloves, because they can be a little more aggressive in the fall. So basically, we're just gonna open this one up here, check to see the status of their work. I'm seeing lots of pollen packed cells. This is really good. This means they're laying eggs, which is a good sign. It means they have a laying queen, which is great. I'm trying to locate the queen here. I'm not seeing the queen, but there is a lot of activity in the hive here, so there's a good chance that she is around here because all these are packed brood. And just take one quick look to see if we can locate her. Packed brood is basically packed eggs. They take, the queen lays an egg, and then the worker bees will fill the egg, or fill the egg cell, the cell up with pollen, and that's what the babies use for an energy source. They eat their way out, and that helps them to survive. So now I'm going to open up this one right here. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. And you always want to turn the hive on its side. Keeps them from falling out the bottom. And we're going to give a quick puff of smoke to these bees right here. They obviously get more aggravated the further you go down because they have nowhere down to go, because really what you're doing is you're pushing the bees lower by smoking them. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pop these out, see if we can locate the queen, check the status of what they're building, see if they're going to need a brood transplant. Basically what a brood transplant is, oopsie, didn't want to shake them that much, but basically what a brood transplant is taking a cell of a frame of brood from a healthier hive and basically planting it in here to give them more numbers so they have a better chance of survival. I didn't see the queen there, but I'm not going to bother these ones too much. They're low on numbers because this is the smallest hive. But I'm just going to give a quick check here. I do know there is a laying queen, so I'm not worried. But I just want to check. See, they've attached all these cells with propolis, and propolis is this dark orange stuff here. You see the dark orange stuff on the top?
Yeah. That's
propolis. That's basically a ladder, because we have the box that we just took off. They use that as a ladder to climb up to the next one. And see, here we have some fresh pulled. This is fresh pulled frames here. This is brand new stuff that they just started pulling. They're working on this. They're going to be filling this one out soon. I'm not too happy with that side. This side is a little more promising. You have lots of brood here, although I don't see a whole lot of honey, which is concerning, because they should be gathering honey by this time. So I might have to do a brood transfer to get more numbers, because basically what they do is order of importance. If their numbers aren't enough, they will continue laying eggs until their numbers are enough. We have one more frame here to take out, and there. Okay, and this one, as you can see, there is still no honey, but there's capped brood here, and no queen. So I'm going to put this back here. This is all drawn out comb. And definitely no eggs, which is concerning. Okay, so we'll address this hive at a later time, later today. I'm gonna have to do a brood transfer, because they're not forming honey, which is a concern to me, because that's their energy source through the winter, and they won't survive on this. They're just basically laying eggs and packing, which shows me that their numbers are very, very low. So I'm going to put the box back on, and we're going to leave these alone for now. But there we go. All right. Okay. So that hive is done. Little area of concern, but oops, forgot the top frame here. Little area of concern, but there is a laying queen. We just need more numbers so they start making honey, which is not a problem. That can be addressed. That's not a big problem. Now, if they didn't have a queen, that would be my biggest problem, because obviously a queen lays the eggs, so they at least have a way of reproducing, which is good. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next hive, which is the next biggest hive. This one should be a little more in number, but I'm not sure what I'm going to see here, because this was still a pretty small swarm when I got it. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, we do have a very, very nice, I can see a decent amount of bees right in the top here, but I never know what I'm going to see until I open it up, because sometimes they're just working the top. Yeah, see, it's always deceiving. This is another small hive here. They're just working the top center, and they're not really filling outwards yet. they've just gotten into the top. So, you know, we'll again have to address this. I'm gonna smoke these. There. Okay, so I'm gonna, where's my hive tool? I'm gonna open them up, and they have a rather weird pattern here. Cindy, if you can see this, this pattern here, they're cross hatching, which is never good. That takes up a whole lot of space without being very efficient. So there might be a problem with what they're doing here. Not sure why they're cross hatching, but they're also cross hatching in this section, which makes it very difficult to for them to, number one, be checked, and number two, makes it very difficult for them to produce honey in an orderly fashion. But again, you know, they're bees. They're going to do what they're going to do. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to take this hive off, this hive body off here, and we'll just check this one right here for now. These ones might need another brood transfer as well from the main hive. Much healthier in number though. You have a lot of bees, a very high concentration of packed brood. So they are working very efficiently with their space, but they're not building out, which again is something that they need to be doing, because they need to be filling up this box to basically conserve energy through the winter. All right. See lots of worker bees, but I'm not seeing the queen. These ones are actually pretty docile. I'm very pleased with how these ones are reacting. They're taking to me working on the box actually really well. The other ones were a bit more aggravated, but again, that comes with their number. They realize that they're a smaller hive. And again, this is just this right here. They're just drawing out this comb, so they're not. Yeah, they're not really working on that hive too much, or this frame too much. So there won't be a queen there. But all right, well. I will do a brood transfer on this as well from this main hive. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing here. This has to go on. And then this. All right, we'll move on to the next hive. All right, and on to the last hive. This will be the biggest one. This one will be a doozy. This one was about 3 pounds when we first captured the swarm, so this was the big swarm. So this one will have lots of activity. Those ones were very small in respect to where they should be, but that's because they started out really small, so they've had to kind of do double the work with half the amount of bees. All right, that hive tool. Cindy, can I have that hive tool? There, I got it. Okay. Okay. Okay, that crack is really good. It's a good sign that they're making propolis to seal everything off. Okay. Again, this hive up here, all these boxes up here will be rather new because I did a hive transfer, so I took their brood cells from up here and moved them to one of the smaller colonies to give them more number. But again, they're cross-hatching here, which is confusing to me as to why they would do that. But basically, I'm just going to go along here and separate it, just a very small amount that's separating the two, or that's connecting the two. I got it. Oh gosh. These are really stuck together with propolis. Get up. There we go. Okay, now I should be able to get it off. Good heavens. There. I'm gonna set this one down. There. Much nicer. This is a very healthy, very healthy colony with lots of propolis, lots of brood, and this is actually a deep box. This is double the nesting space. So they have actually filled this one out spectacularly. They're doing a fantastic job with this one. Can't get this. Oh, there we go. Ah, beautiful. There we go. So as you can see, lots of, can you guys see that? Very beautiful. And what?
Is there honey in there?
There is not honey in this one. Most of their honey will be in this top frame here. There is honey. They ring the outside. See the gray, or not the gray, but the darker brown ring? That's all brood, and then the lighter is all honey. So they ring it because honey is a better insulator. So during the winter time, they'll pack the outer rings with honey, so that they can better insulate their hive through the winter. So I'm not seeing the queen on this one, Cindy, but I mean that's fine because there are several thousand bees along the inside wall there. So I'm not concerned one bit. This is a very healthy hive, so there's no question in my mind that there's a queen in here, because they simply would be much smaller. If they did not have a queen, they would be much smaller. Let me get my hat. There's only one queen in a hive. So there's only one queen in this one. I have 3 queens total. There we go. This one, again, very beautiful. Yeah, the cone sticking out is where it's considered cross hatching, where they will actually grow. They will fuse the comb to the other wall, and it's basically just they have a little too much separation. The frame might have been, because if they're given enough space, they'll fill it all up. They don't know better, because the humans know the most efficient way to get the brood. The bees, they just fill up any space they have with comb. So if the frames are too far spaced, they'll just fill it up with cross hatching, which is probably the problem. But again, I'm not seeing the queen. I'm just seeing a ton of worker bees, which is obviously what you're going to see, since pretty much 99% of the hive is worker bees. I'm gonna check this side really quick. I don't see the queen, but usually when you smoke, the bees go down to the bottom of the hive. So unless you get it quick, usually the queen will go down to the bottom of the hive, because the worker bees follow the queen. And so if there are worker bees on the bottom of the hive, usually that means the queen is in the bottom of the hive as well. So I'm going to check this last frame. I have actually 1.5 frames to check on this hive, and then I will I'll let them be, no pun intended. Okay. Now again, lots of, there you go. There. I just didn't want the queen to be in that ball if it fell and the queen were to fall out of the hive. Now see, you can see lots of packed eggs. Here, if I bring this over here, it's gonna be okay. I just want to show you the eggs. You see the eggs in there?
Yes. Where are the eggs?
Do you see the eggs in there? They're coiled up larvae.
Oh, yeah.
See? Mm-hmm. And these bees are filling, these bees right here are worker bees. They're filling up, they're filling up the,
oh yeah, they probably come up this way. Just make it over.
Yeah, they take the horses come for the beach because they can't cross the ravine. But see, these bees here are filling the larva cells up, because then they're capping it so that the larva can survive.
Why is part of this raised? Why is part of that raised?
Oh, because this right here is called foundation. That's how they make the.
So are they making the hive?
They're making the hive. They're actually making they're raising it up. Yes, foundation is optional by choice. Some people don't choose to go with foundation. Some people do. I'm just working with foundation because I wanted to see how it would work this year. Foundation is basically giving them a starting point to make the honeycomb. So it's not big enough for them to lay eggs in or whatever. They just use it to start. Yep. So basically, I'm just going to get this last one here. There's nothing much, but I just wanted to check to see if this one is honey or not, because they should be getting honey by now. It's just one of those things where it's a time thing, because if they're not making honey, I'm going to have to feed them sugar syrup.
I was just going to say, give them more sugar water.
And see, this is a good sign right here. This is a very good sign. This is all honey right here. This is their honey reserves. See, this right here is capped. It's whiter. See how it's whiter? It's not as orange. This right here is capped honey. And these bees are actually filling them up with oops. See all that hanging? You never want hanging bees, because sometimes the queen can be hanging in that clump, and if it were to fall, all the worker bees would follow, and then you'd essentially have a chaotic mess, let's put it that way. And so yeah, there are lots of worker bees down at the bottom. But see, Cindy, if you can get down there, do you see them doing the waggle dance? What? Yeah, this is nowhere near what they should be producing though. What I'll do is I'm gonna make up some sugar syrup, and the sugar syrup will get them making more honey, because the nectar flow is probably really low this year. The pollen flow has been pretty nice with all the goldenrod, but they don't have many flowers like clover. That's where they get the nectar from. So the clover is where they get the nectar to make the honey. Same thing with like mint and basil. All that actually has nectar, which is what they make the honey. And pollen is what they make. It's called pollen bread. It's a carbohydrate source, just like bread is for you. And they will they'll use that to feed the young, and they'll use the honey as a food source through the winter. So that's why we should be seeing more. But I'm gonna put this back on, Cindy, and then there. They will replace that. They'll fix it. So sometimes what beekeepers will do, I don't choose to do this, but sometimes what beekeepers will do, if you see cross hatching, they'll actually scrape it clean with like a putty knife, and then the bees will refix it in hopes that they'll make it more orderly. I just think that's kind of cruel, so I don't really choose to do that. It's kind of like all your hard work is being now taken away just because it didn't look good. And I knew when I was in 5th or 6th grade, and I made a really nice art project, and the teacher didn't like it. I always liked when she gave me credit for it still, so that's kind of the way I think about it. I'm still giving them credit for their artwork, and they can keep it, and I'm not going to destroy it just because it's not perfect in my eyes. I'm just separating these, Cindy, so that they have a little more equal spacing. There. Okay, all right, there. Okay, so that's done. The hive has been checked. Really nothing notable other than the fact that we're going to need to give them lots of sugar syrup to prep them for...
Why do they have metal on the top?
The metal reflects the sunlight, and the metal will help the hive stay cooler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, basically I have over here these, and I basically fill them up with sugar syrup, and then the bees will land on the sponges and then soak up the sugar syrup, and I can just set them right there, and they'll feed on that. So there you go. There's the bee tour.
Very enlightening.
All right, thank you guys for coming along with me. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I knew it was pretty impromptu, but I had some people that wanted to give a quick look at the hives, and I knew I wanted to check on the hives, so we just kind of killed two birds with one stone. So thank you all for coming along, and until next episode, I'll catch you all later. This is MIgardener reminding you to grow big or go home. See ya. Bye.